World Aquatics takes you to Singapore, the first time the World Championships have been staged in Southeast Asia. And what a great city it is. It is quite spectacular with its imposing skyscrapers, the beautiful waters and gardens. It's a wonderful multicultural city as well. And sitting in the middle of the Singapore Sports Hub is the World Championship Arena. And that is where we're heading right now. Another great day in Singapore. And the crowds, after they've done their bit of sightseeing, head out here to the World Championships Arena. We're up to day 3 of this 8-day competition. It's been fast and furious so far. No world records, but there is plenty of time for that. Perhaps we'll see that happening today. We'll have heats this morning, and that means we'll have some exhilarating and very fast finals and semi-finals this evening. Yes, the 2025 World Championships, the biggest aquatic event staged here, 42 events, and we've already had 8 finals we go through until next Sunday. We've got an interesting morning ahead of us leading into this evening's session. We'll start with these heats of the men's 50 metres breaststroke. We have 9 heats there, 5 heats of the women's 200 freestyle. We've got Molly O'Callaghan engaged there, incidentally Chin engaged in the 50 metres breaststroke. 200 metres butterfly for men, pretty open affair, but we'll see the big names involved. And what about those heats of the 800 metres freestyle for men? And we'll have the defending champion, also the Olympic champion there. A lot to look forward to. It's a very good morning once again to the one and only Bobby Hurley. How are you, Bobby? Fresh, ready to go after a terrific night last night?
Yeah, it was a great start to the competition throughout the first 2 nights of finals here at the Singapore World Championships, and it's a shorter heat session this morning, but as you mentioned, we're seeing some headline swimmers race individual events for the first time here at these championships. So really looking forward to seeing the form of Molly O'Callaghan. Of course, plenty of Australian fans are in the stands here at these championships, waiting to see the Olympic champion take to the pool.
Yes, that's in the 200 metres freestyle for Molly. Of course, she's already a gold medalist here by virtue of the 4x1 freestyle relay. And what a scintillating race that was. They got a little bit lucky, but boy, that must give them a huge boost on day 1.
Yeah, you've got to create your own luck in this sport. As we head over to the warm-up pool this morning, there is Molly O'Callaghan with her coach Dean Boxall and head coach Rowan Taylor of the Australian swim team. Dean just laying down the instructions. Mary Sophie Harvey, well, she was on the podium last night in the individual medley, joining Summer McIntosh there, this time taking the bronze medal. And there's Erin Gemmell from the United States, already a silver medalist at these championships. She'll race the individual 200 metres freestyle. And Katie Ledecky just getting ready. No races this morning, but Ledecky and her training partner Bobby Fink there from the University of Florida. Fink will race the 800 heats this morning. Ledecky just preparing for the 1500 final to come later tonight.
Yes, so that 800 metres, as we mentioned, the 3 heats this morning, so the top 8 will go through to the final tomorrow night there. We had the heats of the women's 1500 yesterday, and yes, we know that Katie Ledecky has qualified very comfortably, and she is looking for yet another gold medal at the World Championships. That will be something to really get excited about.
Yeah, really busy week for Katie Ledecky. She'll look to defend, or reclaim, I should say, the 1500 freestyle world title after she bypassed the previous world titles in Doha. That's one of many finals later to come tonight, but I'm really looking forward to that men's 800 freestyle heat this morning. That's our final event of the heat session. We've got Dan Whiffen, the Olympic champion from Ireland, of course, Bobby Fink, the world record holder in the 1500 metres freestyle. Those two love racing against each other, different tactics coming into play there, different race strategies, and plenty of other threats as well, with Lucas Martins, the 400 metre winner. He'll be in there, and the fastest seed is actually another German. We've spoken about how strong the Germans are in distance swimming in the pool and the open water. This time it's Sven Schwartz, who swam 7:38 earlier this year. He'll find himself in lane 4 of the final heat.
Yes, there's so much depth these days in the 800 and the 1500 metres. I mean, the 800, it's become almost like the 400 was 10 or 15 years ago. And I guess that's by virtue of the fact that the open water program has come into play for the 1500s. That is certainly the longest event in the pool program, but a lot of the swimmers do swim longer distances in the open water.
Well, it sounds kind of obvious, but the 800's closer to the 400-metre race than it is to the 1500. I mean, obviously from a numbers perspective, but the way that it's swam as well, it becomes a long sprint, because if you're an open water 1500-metre guy, that 800 is just a long sprint. Or if you're Sam Short stepping up in distance, or Lucas Martins or whatnot, you know, the first 200 and the last 200 is essentially the same as it is in the 400 freestyle. They've just got to grind out a little longer through the middle part of that race. Okay, let's meet the officials who are overseeing this meeting this morning, the heats on day 3 of this 8-day competition. Daphne Bird and Jens Christian Iversen are referees. And the starters here: Kian Un Lim and Lisa Vetterlin. So once we meet the officials, we know that the swimmers are not all that far away. Back to, we had a peep in the call room a short time ago, and of course the first event is the men's 50 metres breaststroke, and we have both Chin, who won China's first gold medal last night. That was in the 100 breaststroke, and also Martin Engi, the silver medalist, as we head back there again. The first of 9 heats, not all that far away for the men's 50 metres breaststroke. Yeah, plenty of other chances this morning in that 50 breaststroke. Denis Petrashov, the bronze medalist from Kyrgyzstan, he'll line up there in one of the seeded heats. Also, you know, some new names there. This is Ivan Kazakin, he's the second seed this morning. Melvin Imudu, the big German, and Ilya Shiminovic, the short course world record holder, is the fastest entrant coming into this competition. Of course, Michael Andrew as well. We haven't seen as much from Michael Andrew as we usually would from the versatile American sprinter. And Emre Sachi from Turkey as well, one of the main chances this morning. A lot of people have come to Singapore for a holiday, but particularly for the World Aquatics Championships. Flags of so many nations there. Sweden have always been prominent at the World Championships. And a chance to get on the big screen as well. Can't hide. I think we found that out over recent times. Did you say you're here on holidays, Mike? Seems that way. Great city to host the World Aquatics Championships. Of course, it's been going on for the better part of 2.5 weeks now. We've had the high diving down at Sentosa Islands. The open sport of swimming as well occurred down there on the iconic beaches of Sentosa, and now we come to the World Championships arena for the swimming. I might be biased, but maybe it's the main attraction of the World Championships. Plenty of fans here, locals and expats that live in Singapore, and plenty that have travelled on the journey to come to Singapore. Lots of sightseeing to do, as you said. The Merlion at Marina Bay Sands, that's always a big attraction there. And this morning, well, the main attraction is the competition pool here at the World Championships arena. Yes, they have the professional flags and some that are done at home. Well, that looks like Harrison Turner's cheer squad. He'll be in the 200 freestyle, 200 butterfly, I should say, to come in just a few moments. The men's 50 metres breaststroke heats will kick things off on day 3 of competition here at the World Championship Arena. Adam Peaty with that world record. It's stood now for 8 years, 25.95. Adam Peaty still in the sport after claiming the silver medal in the 100 metres breaststroke in Paris. He's taking a bit of a sabbatical year this year, but he's got his eyes firmly on sights for the LA 2028 Olympics, especially with the addition of the form stroke 50s, including the men's 50 metres breaststroke, an event where Petey is close to being undefeated for the majority of his career. He gets another chance at an individual Olympic medal.
The start list for the first of the heats here. And the Northern Mariana Islands, we've got the Solomon Islands, Ethiopia, the Central African Republic, and also the Democratic Republic of Congo, all involved here. Safely underway on day 3 of competition here at the World Aquatics Championships in Singapore. So it's Sanger in lane number 3. Sanger just turned 16 a few days ago, but he's headed at the moment down there in lane 5. It's Nzibi from the Central African Republic. And right across, it's Watanabe in lane number 2 from the Northern Mariana Islands. And he is streeting the field here. No entry times, but clearly he's capable of good speed, and he takes it out in 31.36. Watanabe winning out first, ahead of Nzibi, and in third place it looks like it's gone to Sanger, the recently turned 16-year-old from lane 3.
Great swim there this morning from Koki Watanabe, 31.36. No entry times there for the swimmers in heat 1, so he really blew away the field there off the blocks and throughout the 50 metres breaststroke. There he is, top of screen, gets those feet together in a nice streamlined position, entering the water with minimal splash and resistance, and had a really high stroke rate throughout that race. He was able to build his way through, just lifting his head up there at the finish a little bit. We will see just how important those finishes are as we progress through all 9 of the heats this morning. Results aren't official just yet, so there's a bit of a nervous wait for the swimmers in heat 1.
Meanwhile, the swimmers in heat 2 were up and about. Now, there are a couple of empty lanes there. Looks like lanes 5 and 7.
The men's 50 breaststroke is where the VAR review officials really have to work for their money. They would have got up early this morning and had a couple of cups of coffee, because with 9 heats, there's plenty to review. Quite often, it is for more than one downward dolphin kick off the dive and pull-outs. And on other occasions, it's another sneaky little dolphin kick, lunging for the wall at the finish. And of course, the swimmers have to finish and touch the wall simultaneously with both hands at the same time. So they're probably the 3 things that the officials are going to be reviewing across all 9 of the heats this morning.
And there is a disqualification. Sanger has been disqualified. The swimmer from lane number 2, lane number 3, in fact, Yula Sanger. He loses his placing here. Unfortunately, it's Watanabe from Nzibi. That's the result of heat 1. Start list for heat 2 here. The men's 50 breaststroke. Lanes 5 and 7.
Take your marks.
There is 5 there, so that's Anwari. He dives in, and alongside him in lane number 6, it's Gardner, going very well down there in one of the outside lanes. Lane 8 is Noka, and also across there in zero, Masood and Al-Khaladi right alongside him. So those two are leading at the moment. The white cap at the top of the screen there, Masood, is being overtaken now by Al-Khaladi, and Al-Khaladi is going to take it out in a time of 30.16. So that's about a second quicker than the first heat. Masood in second place, and Wari it was in third.
Great performance there from lane one. Al-Khaladi, 15 years of age, so to be going 30.1 is very impressive. He's storm time at the finish there, just across that last 5 strokes or so. Again, the start's important, but the finish is where the race is won. Up there at the top of the screen, can't quite see off the start. Masood in zero had a really good pull out, surfacing past 15 metres, which is allowed in the breaststroke events. But again, through that last 5 strokes, it was Al-Khaladi getting his hands on the wall first. Personal best time there for Masood as well.
Yes, that time 30.16, 30.54 for Masood. And Wari 31.40. Heat 2. 9 heats in total. Zach Moyo of Zambia has lane 4 in heat number 3 here. Samia Abdoli in lane number 5 from Iran. So Moya in lane 4, Abdoli in lane number 5. This is the third of the 9 heats, and the white cap comes up here. Abdoli of Iran in lane number 5, leading the way. Second place down there in lane number 7, perhaps. That'll be Chokion. He's going well, and going through with him as well, Cabrera in lane number 8. Lanes 5, 6 and 7 should fight it out, but up there also in lane number 2, Grand Prix. Grand Prix might just about get there. He did, 28.52. And then Yalamawi in second place. It's only 2 100ths of a second between them. Abdoli was in third, and look at that, blowing kisses to the crowd.
Yeah, good call there. That was a tight finish in Heat 3. Alexandra Grand Prix 28.52. We've just seen multiple swimmers in that heat get under their entry time by big margins across 50 metres as well. That's 0.8 of a second faster than his entry time there for Alexandra Grand Prix. White cap, that was Abdoli that had the best of the dives and pull-outs. Big, powerful man. You can see him eyes up a little bit. His head barely goes underwater, but his strokes got shorter and shorter as the race went on. Third from the top, that's Grand Prix stretching out. Just those last few strokes, he was able to get his fingernails on the wall ahead of, that might be Yale Mawai from Fiji. And they're going to review this one as always, but it looks like it's a safe result for everybody in Heat 3.
There is the result of Heat 3, and Grand Prix it was, taking it out in just over 28.5 seconds, 28.52. 2 100ths of a second was the margin. Adrian Robinson of Botswana has lane 4 in Heat 4 here. Robertson's entry time 28.13. Off we go in heat number 4 here. Robinson of Botswana. Zvet is the swimmer in lane 5.
Yeah, pretty even across the start. It might be Lawrence there, third from the bottom of the screen. That's going to be Panaritos, who got the best of the starts. Look at him really duck diving his head underwater, trying to squeeze as much length as he can between each stroke. But the white cap is Manhal Chow, who moves to the lead. Chow's stretching out in front. He's going to be challenged on the finish, and he gets touched out there at the end. Switzerland with Gartman. Gets his hands on the wall first. 28.10 the winning time there in heat 4. Gartman just 0.1 of a second ahead of Chow. And really bunched up for the minors there in heat 4.
So Gartman of Switzerland takes it out. And that time that he recorded, 28.10, was inside his entry time by a third of a second.
I tell you what, so much can change across the last 3 strokes in that race. Once they get into the red part of the lane ropes, 5 metres from the wall, the timing onto the wall, how much momentum you're coming into the finish with. It's such a small part of the race. It's the last 10% of the race, but it's so important to be able to finish with speed, finish with power, and time that last stroke to perfection. And Gianluca Gartman did exactly that.
Gartman taking out heat 4 in 28.10, 28.23 for Chow. So Switzerland from Macau and India, 1, 2, 3. Singapore with Chan Chon Ho, lane 4 here. So they would have raced alongside each other a few times, Chan and Go from Singapore and Malaysia. They are in 4 and 5 in lane number 3, Xi of Hong Kong. And going through lane number 4, this could be a popular result here because Chan is looking very good. He's still got a lot to do though, especially over there in lane 2. Dawson of Canada, and down there also in lane number 7, this is Buchil. Very, very tight. Who's going to get there? Lane 6 might. In fact, Dawson got there just ahead of Morella Valdez in lane number 6. Dawson it was of Canada. His time 27.55.
A great swim there from Oliver Dawson. Swims 0.25 of a second quicker than his entry time. Still a teenager, just 17 years of age. That's great experience for the young Canadian. Coming to the World Championships, producing a lifetime best and winning his heat up against much more experienced competitors. Again, the finish, Dawson's second 25 of that race, is where he was able to sneak in front of the rest of the field. Quite often we see that the younger swimmers in these sprint events obviously don't have the physical strength and athleticism through the first part of the race to potentially match their more mature competitors, but when it comes to the swim speed is where they can finish faster than some of those older guys. And Oliver Dawson with plenty of improvements still to come in the future of his career, but 27.5 at 17 certainly is a great result.
There was a disqualification there. Mahmoud disqualified. Chan finishing in 6th place for Singapore. The race taken out by Oliver Dawson, heat 5. So there we have heat 6 coming your way. This is the last of the unseeded heats here. Pravin of Norway, Nabil is the swimmer in lane number 5 from Indonesia. Pravin and Nabil in lanes 4 and 5. We watch for Wilkes in 8 and Morgan in 9.
Yeah, just 0.3 of a second separate all 10 swimmers here in heat 5. There's the yellow cap of Nash Wilkes. Can't quite match the leaders at the moment. Choi Dong-yi in lane 0, the Korean, looking to be an outside smoke. So Korea in front, moving through Saviskas from Lithuania, Braten as well. But Choi Dong-yi, we'll see if he can take it out, and he does. Lane 0 touches the wall first there in heat 6, 27.13. It's the fastest time of the morning so far before we get to the seeded heats. 27.13 there from Choi Dong-yi, and a big margin of victory in the end.
Well, not surprising, the times keep coming down, but that was a very, very competitive race. All of them in the 27 seconds, the times. vary by about 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, this was the start. Again, pretty even, except that was Burl that really missed it in lane 5, bottom of the yellow lanes. But you can see that second 25. Choi really moved through. He had a strong 100 metres breaststroke earlier in this competition, but potentially he's shifted his focus a little more into the 50-metre events. And when we look at potentially what's going to be needed to qualify for the semi-finals, we still have 30 swimmers to come, but that 16th fastest time so far is 26.99. So on paper it's a 26.99. Dong's already swam 27.13, so he's going to be close.
Yes, there is a review taking place, and it involves lane 8. That's Wilkes of Australia.
Yeah, Wilkes with a 27.57 there for 5th position. Just a little slower than his entry time, but they could be looking at multiple different infractions. Again, more often than not at this level, the races are under review when they've got the luxury of using the underwater footage. There's no dolphin kick from any of the swimmers, no double dolphin kicks, sorry, off the start, or any downward kicks on the finish that will get past the officials in the VAR room.
Yes, that has delayed things in terms of the first of the seeded heats.
Look at the swimmers waiting there. They know if the result summary doesn't come up on the scoreboard at the pool, that they could be in trouble. 3 swimmers are under review, in fact. It's not just Wilkes. There's a few others.
Okay, so we know that lane 8 is disqualified. Wilkes.
Downward dolphin kick at the touch. That's the word for Nash Wilkes. He will be disqualified, unfortunately, there for the Australian competing at his first World Championships.
Still waiting on the results of the other 2 reviews, but we know that there's been 1 disqualification. These swimmers are waiting to compete in Heat 7, the first of the seeded heats.
It makes for a nervous wait for the following heat as well. You can see them, their goggles on, they've already splashed with water. They're literally standing behind the blocks expecting to race, and we're still waiting.
We're not waiting any longer, just the 1 disqualification there. Choi taking out heat number 6. Heat 7 now. The seeded swimmers come out here. Prigoda in 5, Serasualo in lane number 4 here. Sixth in Doha. Out the seeded swimmers here. Cerasualo, it is the Italian in 4, Pagoda alongside him in 5. Sun is to watch for there in lane number 2.
What a pull out there from Pagoda as well. Takes his time, surfaces at about 17 metres, and now he's swimming for the lead, but they're top of the yellow. Cerasualo, the Italian sprinter. He wasn't in that 100-metre race. This is his only event at the World Championships, and he's going to take it in a fast time as well. 26.42. Faster than his entry time there for Simone Cerasualo. Only 2 swimmers under 27 seconds, and that was a fine swim in the heats there for the Italian.
Well, he had to wait a long time, but he came out firing. Cerasualo in lane 4. The Italian doing the job here.
Yeah, underwater there, he was really able to lift his stroke rate. You can see not much glide happening there at all. As soon as the hands get out in front, he's catching and pulling, getting into the next stroke.
There's the result of heat number 7, 26.42. A very slick time there for Cerasualo. Prigoda in 2nd, De Groot in 3rd. 2 heats remaining. There's the start list for heat number 8 here. Kazakin in lane number 4. Amudu of Germany in lane 5. This is the second last of the heats. Kazakin and Amudu in lanes 4 and 5. Campbell McKeon at the USA in lane 6, and he's going well also in lane number 7 there. It's Vicarat of France. Coming through in 5, Amudu. He's trying to get on top, but going with him, it's Kazakin. So the white cap of Kazakin. Across in lane number 1 as well. Watnar, but he might edge them all out. And down there in 8, it's Taniguchi. Taniguchi got over the top of it. Then it was Amudu and Kazakin. They were right across the pool. Watnar in lane number 1 wasn't too far back as well. 26.65.
Oh, it's fast there from Taku Taniguchi. PB in the 100 a few days ago. Now he does it again in the 50. The top 4 under 27 seconds. This pool might be fast for 50s. We are seeing some really quick heat swims this morning. And again, like we saw in the men's 50 fly, the depth of the form stroke 50-metre events has taken a step forward already just 1 year after the announcement that this event will be in the Olympic Games. Taku Taniguchi, 26.65 ahead of Amudu, Kazakin, and Namibia also getting under 27 seconds.
The official result there, Taniguchi, our heat winner, heat 8.
Great there from Rowan Wantana. That'll get him through to the semi-finals.
And the last of the heats looks like this, with Ilya Shiminovic in lane number 4 there, Martinengi in 5, Chin, the winner of the 100 in lane 3, Michael Andrew in 2. It's a hot field.
Let's watch the start of Martinengi here in 5.
Martinengi away well, lane 5. You've got Shiminovic in 4 and Chin, the winner of the 100 across there in lane number 3. And going well is lane 4, Shiminovic. There's nothing between them at the moment. Coming through in lane 5, Martinengi in the black cap, but it's Shiminovic who leads. Gee, this could go anywhere. I'll let the clock tell the story. Look at it. It's almost a 5-way dead heat. It was Smith of South Africa ahead of Shiminovic and Martinengi. Chin ended up in 5th placing. Wow, that was very, very close, right across the pool.
There we go, 26.82 the winning time. 26.9 gets you in 5th position, but Chris Smith from South Africa, personal best this morning there, needed to be that quick if he wanted to win the heat. He'll move through to the semi-finals, no doubt. South Africa there ahead of, where were the minors? Shiminovic, Martinengi. Chin was in 5th position. Michael Andrew in 9th position in that heat. Didn't look far out of it, but that's not the results that many were hoping for. This is the finish here. Take your pick. Again, not many blankets in Singapore, Mike, but we might need to throw one over the finish there. Poor start from Martinengi. Again, really hard for Chin and Martinengi after the 100-metre final last night. The elation of winning medals and going through the process of media and drug testing. It's a late night back to the hotel to then have to come back this morning and emotionally get yourself up for another big performance at this level. And again, nobody can take it easy in the heats here when the depth has gotten so much stronger. And again, in such a short event, you need to be on your game here, even if you're at the level of Chin and Martinengi, just to move through to the semi-finals.
Righto, so the results are coming through now. There is a disqualification. Lane 8, the French swimmer is disqualified. It means that Smith wins it by 7 100ths of a second. Another 100th back to Martinengi, another 4 100ths back to Corbeau, and another 4 100ths back to Chin. I had no idea there. That was just too tight to call, too tight to guess. There's the results summary. Cherusaralo, our first and fastest through to the semis. Taniguchi, So a time of 27:20 is good enough to get through, and looks like there's no swim off there. 17th and 18th all clear as well. Lizavets, it was from Ukraine, 27:22, not making it through.
Yes, 27:22, that is the cut-off time there. You can see, 3 pages later, we're looking at 27 highs. Those guys are only half a second off making the semi-finals at the World Championships. Again, I briefly spoke about it. We saw it in the men's 50 fly, now in the men's 50 metres breaststroke this morning. There was a shift last night in the top end of that 50 fly podium, 22 4s and 22 5s for Grousset and Ponti, and then also the depth in that new Olympic event. What does it take to be a top 16 at this level? What does it take to make the top 8 and be in the final? Those numbers are tracking faster and faster, whereas in 100 and 200 metre events in the World Champs post-Olympics, generally those times are getting a little bit slower.
We move along now to the women's 200 metres freestyle heats. We have 5 heats coming up, and the swimmers in heat 1 are on their way out. Ariane Titmus having a break this year. She is the current world record holder at 152.23. And we expect to see Ariane back in action next year, but she's enjoying a different side of life for 2025. Start list, heat 1. Harper Barrowman of the Cayman Islands in lane number 4 here. Nabi is in lane number 5. First of 5 heats of the 200 freestyle. De Silva it is in lane 1, Regipova in lane 2, Mitchell in 3, Barrowman in 4, Nabi in 5, Lama 6, and then Adria Leva of Kyrgyzstan in lane number 7 there. Barrowman's entry time, she's the swimmer from the Cayman Islands, 2:05.99 as they work their way up the first lap, and our early leader is Haruki De Silva of Sri Lanka.
Yes, not much separating them through the first turn. That is De Silva at the top of screen. No entry time there. The fastest time, as you mentioned, belongs to Harper Barrowman in lane 4. The Cayman Islands, well, we'll see Jordan Crooks, I believe, in a few days' time in the sprint freestyle events. And swimming has become a little bit more popular in the Cayman Islands, thanks to the Crooks family.
So through they go. Nabi it is who leads in 1:02.87. Barrowman in second place. De Silva is still swimming a good race up there in lane number 1. They're starting to spread out just a touch, but lane 5 is looking very good at the moment. That is Nabi of Pakistan.
Nabi in front there, breathing to her right. That's Barrowman coming through there, top of the yellow lanes, moving through in that all-important third 50. Apologies, Jordan Crooks is not racing this year, so Barrowman will be flying the flag for the Cayman Islands. She turns and surfaces in front. A great third 50 metres there for Harper Barrowman. She'll be looking to sprint home to the finish. She's got a race on her hands, and again, trying to get under her entry time as well.
Yes, a 3-way go here because De Silva is right up there. They may not know she's challenging for the lead. She'd be almost on level terms there with Barrowman, and Nabi just starting to drop off now. Barrowman goes in and takes it out just in front of De Silva, and Nabi in third place. 2:08.28. The winner was Harper Barrowman from the Cayman Islands.
Yes, great final 100 metres there for Harper Barrowman. She's the winner of Heat 1. Barrowman ahead of De Silva and Nabi, all getting under that 2 minutes 10 barrier. And the swimmers there diving in. They utilise those underwater dolphin kicks off the start, and again having the ability to dolphin kick off the turns, especially the last turn. The last turn's worth more than the previous turns. That's when everybody's tired and wants to surface. If you've got the ability to stay under the water and dolphin kick, that's where you can get a really big advantage over your competitors in any race that you're in. And Harper Barrowman really paced that 200 metres freestyle quite strongly.
Yes, 2:08.28 for Harper Barrowman. The silver in second place and Navi third. That was the first heat result. 200 metres freestyle. We'll move ahead to the semi-finals this evening. The final of this event tomorrow night. Now, lane 2 is a scratching here. That's a pity because it's Gan Ching Wei of Singapore not starting.
Well, Gan's got the 1500 freestyle final tonight, so that's a smart decision, and having Singapore in a finals here at the World Championships is going to pack out the stands tonight for sure.
Fourth fastest qualifier as well.
Take your mark.
So this is the second of the heats, and it's Igris Cotton of Venezuela and also Bat Bayer of Mongolia in 4 and 5. Quick to start though is Elizabeth Iversen of Denmark in lane number 3. Also in 7 and 8 it's Spearing of the Netherlands and also Ifantala of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, the top 2 swimmers here swimming in those yellow lanes have got entry times of 1 minute 59. So a big shift forward from heat 1 as we move into heat 2. This is the last of the unseeded heats as well. So we've got Igris Cotton there, top of the yellow lanes. Bat Bayer from Mongolia. We've seen plenty of her over the course of her World Championship career. There she's in that white cap in front at the moment, but again, it's not leading who's leading at the 100-metre mark, but who's doing it the most comfortable is able to maintain their speed out of the turns and make sure they've got enough energy for that all-important sprint home.
But Bayer it is, ahead of Spearing. She had a lead of around 0.3 of a second. So it's lanes 5 and 7 at the moment, Bat Bayer and Spearing. Mongolia and the Netherlands respectively. And also starting to make the move now. There's Igris Cotton of Venezuela in lane 4, Iversen of Denmark in 3 as they turn at the 150. Bat Bayer from Igris Cotton and Iversen. Spearing is dropping back, the Dutch swimmer in lane 7.
Yeah, Iversen there, top of screen. She had a good turn there. She's bringing in the legs, as is Bat Bayer as well. She's led so far in this heat, but the challenges are coming, and Iversen's flying through this last 25.
Big finish here by the swimmer from Denmark, Elizabeth Iversen. She's going to win heat number 2 here, the last of the unseeded heats. And it's Iversen who wins in 2:00.36. Bat Bayer second, Igris Cotton in third placing. Good swim. She had an entry time of much the same there, 2:00.2. Let's have a look, 2:00.24 for Iversen. She ends up just a little slower than that, 12/100ths of a second.
Yeah, red suit, third from the top is Iversen. She had the best dive in that first 15 metres, so that should have showed me in this heat, without knowing too much about the swimmers, that she's got the underwater kicking ability, which means generally you're probably going to be a strong kicker. So she managed her energy well, stayed under longer than Bat Bayer on the last turn. Big kick coming into screen now, breathing to her right. This is a good situation to swim over the top of the swimmers next to you and power in to take out the heat. So good signs there for Elizabeth Iversen.
The result of heat 2 here, the women's 200 metres freestyle, Iversen, Bat Bayer and Igris Cotton. Denmark, Mongolia and Venezuela. The wind's being shared around this morning, the third morning of heats. Now, heat 3, the 200 freestyle. Simonova, the Czech Republic. Perkins of Australia, 4 and 5.
Take your mark.
watch for the British swimmer in lane 3, Shimanova. She was 4th in Doha in lane number 4, and Perkins, Australia, in 5, with Abraham of Hungary, the swimmer in lane number 6. Heat 3, the first of the seeded heats.
Yes, here they are. The swimmers will be racing for a spot in tonight's semi-final, so they'll know that more than likely the top 4 should move through in this heat, but you wouldn't want to be too far back here. Certainly a top 3 position is what they will be aiming for. So Freya Colbert in the red cap of Great Britain, she turns first through that first 50 metres. It's her first individual event of these World Championships, and the same for Barbara Simonova there below her in the top of the yellow lanes from the Czech Republic. She's been in plenty of world and Olympic finals in the past. Simonova now training with Tom Rushton in that pro group there with Siobhan Hawley and Anastasia Gorbenko. So Simonova comes into these World Championships as the 3rd seed. Starting, she's got the ability to breathe to her left, breathe to her right, and see where everybody is.
Simonova, the red cap there is Colbert, who won the 400 individual medley at the Doha World Championships. So she's right up there. This is a very tight race. Heat 3, the first of the seeded heats here. And perhaps up there in lane number 2, it's going to be Kenny, the South African, who leads. So Kenny at the 150. She leads by 0.3 over Perkins and Simonova.
Yeah, big 50 there from South Africa. Amy Kenny looking to get under her 156 entry time and steal this one. Colbert trying to pick up the pace now. Simonova as well. Perkins not far out of it. There's a line of 4. The placings will be important here, and might be Perkins at the finish.
Perkins it was by 5 100ths over Simonova and Canny, and Colbert ended up in 4th place. So a really good finish. Simonova with 5 to go, looked like she might just edge out Perkins, but Perkins was able to get there for a strong heat win.
There they are. It was pretty tight throughout the course of that one. Not a fast overall time. So with 2 seeded heats to go, the swimmers will know that maybe they don't need to put all their energy into this morning. Perkins there just could see how tight it was. She's got that 400 metre background, really put her head down from about 10 metres out just to make sure that, of course, the time's important, but the placing's probably more so this morning.
157.08, the winning time in Heat 3 here, 157.13, so it was tight. And Canny, who made her move in the 3rd 50, ended up in 3rd place for South Africa. Second last of the heats here, Claire Weinstein is back in the water. In fact, she was a scratching on day 1, so hopefully she's overcome any problems. Harvey of Canada, a bronze medalist in the 200 IM last night.
Great to see Claire Weinstein on the blocks.
Weinstein in lane 4. Li Bingji was quick off the blocks there. She's from lane 3. Harvey, as I mentioned, a bronze medalist already here at the championships. And Padar is the Hungarian in lane 6 as they go down the pool for the first time.
Yeah, Li Bingji's got the 1500 final tonight, so she's going to try and show the bottom end of her range and make it back in this 200 semi. Li in lane 3. We know how good how much closing speed she's got. What's for her through the last 50, but leading it through is Pedar. This is a standout junior from Hungary. She's only 19 years of age, leading a rising crop of female Hungarian swimmers onto the world stage. Of course, they got an unforgettable medal in the 4x200 freestyle relay at the Budapest World Champs in December last year.
Weinstein it is who leads at the halfway mark from Baldacchini, the Brazilian, in lane 2, so it's another very close race. Padar currently holding down third. Struggling at the moment would be Harvey in lane 5. She's right back, almost in last placing.
Yeah, Harvey loves to back end this. Watch that black cap, bottom of the yellow lanes, moving through now. She's on the hip of Weinstein, coming through with good momentum. I'd almost back Harvey to win the heat from this position. Again, Weinstein first at the 100, first at the 150, but she was affected from that bout of illness. We don't know how she's going to finish this one off. Li Bingji's got finishing speed. Harvey's in the mix. Again, top 4, top 3 are the placings that the swimmers will want to get.
Lanes 3, 4 and 5 look like fighting it out here. Li Bingji finishing hard in the black cap. Weinstein continues to lead, but the lead is being whittled down. It's going to be on the touch here, and it is Weinstein who just holds out Lee. And then Harvey in third place. Baldacchini finishing in fourth from lane 2. Really good racing here, and Claire Weinstein, she would have been disappointed. She certainly would have had her preparations disrupted through illness at the start of the championships. She sat out night 1, but she's back and she looks in pretty good nick.
Yeah, she's back, and that doesn't look like it physically took too much out of her as well. Not too many signs of exhaustion there for Claire Weinstein. She's got the long arms, the long loping freestyle stroke. She knew Lee was to her left and Harvey to her right, and was good enough to take the second seeded heat, but only 3 swimmers under 158. It hasn't been overly fast this morning in the 200-metre event. We saw how quick the men's 50 breaststroke was, but 158 will make the semi-finals tonight, I think.
There's the results of Heat 4. Weinstein, Li Bingji and Mary Sophie Harvey. USA, China, Canada and Brazil fourth. The start list for the last of our heats here. Molly O'Callaghan in lane 4 here. Erin Gemmell, who got a swim in the relay the other night at the last moment. She's in 5. O'Callaghan, the Olympic champion. The last of the heats here for the 200 freestyle final, and 200 freestyle heat, I should say. And O'Callaghan, our Olympic champion, Gemmell alongside her in 5. They're flanked there by Fairweather, who would have been very disappointed with a disqualification in the 400 heats, and also Yu in 6.
Yeah, let's hope for a good result for Erica Fairweather after she was not included in that final 400 freestyle final a few nights ago. O'Callaghan, first individual event of these World Championships. Look at the dolphin kicking ability there. She was next to Gemmell at the turn, but was able to kick away from her. She's a really leg-dominated swimmer. You can see a strong kick from start to finish, and she'll look to go well past 10 metres across every turn. That's really physically tiring to do, but she trains every day in that fashion, so she's got plenty of reps under her belt.
They turn almost together, the top 3 here. Fairweather, O'Callaghan and Gemmell. Jansen in 4th place now. The good turn there as far as Molly O'Callaghan's concerned. Getting that gold medal in the relay, the freestyle relay on night 1. Now she wants the individual gold here. The Olympic champ. She's got a battle on her hands though with both Gemmell and Fairweather.
Yeah, just settling now is O'Callaghan. She would have seen just how slow the previous 2 heats were. 157 will make it through, but watch for this last turn for the Australian. Turns in 3rd, surfaces in 1st position. She's a really competitive athlete. She'll want to get her hands on the wall first, but Erin Gemmell has lifted her stroke rate. The American wants to get there, and also there's Erica Fairweather as well, leaving nothing to chance.
Fairweather has taken over. It's Gemmell still holding out in 2nd place. O'Callaghan looks like she's taking it pretty comfortably there, and she'll finish in 3rd. Fairweather, Gemmell, O'Callaghan, and 4th home was Liu. 156.54 was the winning time, so that is the fastest of the heats.
156.54. Fairweather taking the last here. And those were the top 3 times of the morning. Fairweather, Gemmell and O'Callaghan. They will move through, of course, safely. They'll move through as first, second and third seeds for tonight's semi-finals. There's O'Callaghan, goes a little deeper than her competitors. Again, if you want to go far underwater, then you've got to go deep. And O'Callaghan, again, very comfortable. We're looking at a time of PB plus 4.5 there for the Australian. Fairweather, again, after a disappointment in the 400-metre event, she certainly gets New Zealand back on the board here in the women's 200 metres freestyle.
Fairweather of New Zealand, Gemmell, the USA, and O'Callaghan, Australia. First, second and third in Heat 5, the last of the heats. Fairweather looking much happier emerging from the pool today than she did 48 hours ago when she ended up being disqualified. Through to the semis, Fairweather, Gemmell, O'Callaghan, Perkins, Simonova. They're the top group. It took a time of 1:58.28 for Stephanie Baldacchini of Brazil to book her spot in the semi-finals. Li Bingji was there as well. Berger, the first to miss out at 1:58.54.
Yes, tonight Li Bingji will swim the 1500 metres freestyle final, and she's got just under an hour before she will compete in the semi-finals of this event, the 200 metres freestyle. China having a great competition through the first 2 days of these World Championships, and Li Bingji has been a big part of that.
We move along now to the men's 200 metres butterfly heats. Christoph Mielak, our world record holder, 1:50.34. It stood now for 3 years. So 1 unseeded heat and 3 seeded heats here. The 200 butterfly. We'll start this for heat 1, looking like this. Tunisia and Guyana have 4 and 5 here. Lanes, in fact 7 lanes will be used here. Of course, we can use 10 lanes in the heats World Championships, utilising lanes 0 and 9, and that's been the case with a lot of the heats, but not this time. Alatabi, Rissenfeld, Bin Milad, Noel, Ventura and Shiam of the Maldives. So this is heat 1 of the 200 butterfly. Bin Milad of Tunisia is our early leader.
Yes, tough event, the 200 butterfly. Only 4 heats in this one. We've really seen, I guess, the overall participation of the 200 fly decrease in the last few years, certainly on the women's side. I think it was in Tokyo where there were only about 17 or 18 starters. I mean, on the flip side, this morning in the men's 50 breaststroke, we had 9 heats, we had 90 swimmers, and now we've got less than half of that here across 4 laps of butterfly. But which one would you want to do, Mike, the 50 breast or the 200 butterfly?
It looks pretty tough to me, the 200 metres butterfly. It is interesting though, because the program is expanding year by year, and the numbers are generally expanding as well. Of course, it's not easy to make it through to the World Championships. We don't have as many heats as we used to 20 years ago. Sometimes we had 30 or so heats in the shorter distances, but interesting that the numbers are dwindling here.
Yeah, I remember at one of my first World Championships at the beginning of the 1500 freestyle, if you're in heat 5, you'd only warm up when heat 1 is in the water, because you had about an hour and 15 minutes before your race was actually up. That might have been in Rome or editions of the World Championships before that.
So we watch them swim this final lap here, and it's Noel who is our leader here from Guyana. Ben Milad in second place, the swimmer from Tunisia. Then it's going to be tight for third. Probably down there in lane number 6 will be Ventura from El Salvador, just in front of Grissenfeld. There's our winner though. He takes it out. Swimmer from Guyana in just under the 2-minute mark. He'd be happy to see the time starting with a 1:59.89, 2:02.86 for Ventura. Ben Milad in third placing.
A great swim there from Noel, cracking 2 minutes, the 19-year-old from Guyana. And here we have Shihab finishing there from the Maldives. And the results from Heat 1 are now complete. And Guyana on 59.89, really good swim there from Raekwon Noel.
Don't think they are complete yet, Bobby. Looks like we've got a review taking place.
Off the blocks there. Again, the most important thing is just entering in streamlined position, getting those hands and feet together. And of course, butterfly is known as the dolphin stroke. The ability to dolphin kick, keep those hips high, feet together, and keep the rhythm of that kick is so important in terms of being able to swim butterfly for 200 meters. It's a leg-driven stroke. If those legs are sinking, then the rest of the body is going to sink as well.
Well, the winner was Noel, or the first home anyway, Noel from Guyana from lane 5, but that is the lane under review at the moment. So he would be very pleased to see that time come up on the board, but he's got a bit of a nervous wait now because still no official results. So that could possibly, that result could be overturned, but let's hope for his sake it's not.
Don't do it to him. No. Guyana's just broken 2 minutes. And he's won the heat, and he's safe.
It's all clear. So he can now smile and enjoy the fruits of his labour. Noel, 1:59.89, winning Heat 1.
Seeded heats now. Here we go.
Carson Foster of USA is in lane 4 here. Martin Estenberger of Austria in 5. This is the first of the seeded heats here. Foster in 4 and Espenberger, who was a finalist in Paris and the bronze medalist from Doha in 5. And we also look for Lewis Clareburt, the New Zealander, another finalist in the Doha Championships. He's swimming out of 1.
Yeah, what a start there from Zhu Fang from China as well. Exploded off the blocks. It's the first time I'm seeing him compete at the World Championships. And of course, China are desperately looking for a butterflyer to complete their medley relay. Because if they find one, they are, well, they're Olympic champions. It's going to make them even more difficult to beat. So our attention turns to those centre lanes. First swim of the World Championships for Carson Foster. White cap there, top of the yellow lanes for Federico Bedisso. He's been inconsistent over the past few years, the Italian, but a strong showing through the first 100 metres here.
And Foster tries to narrow that gap as they go through the halfway mark. Bedisso it is, ahead of Foster, the margin 0.3 of a second. Espenberger and Claire, but that makes up the first 4.
Yeah, Zhu from China's fallen back to about 6th or 7th place, but his start was fantastic. But a long way to go in this 200 fly. Foster edging in front. He's got a lot of endurance training under his belt. He trains at the University of Texas with, of course, Bob Bowman, who's moved there for less than 12 months now, is a 400 IMer. So Foster will know how to finish this one off with the challengers to his left. That's Pedisso from Italy, and below him, Espenberger in the blue cap, the Austrian, with a little bit of a short stroke there, but he's lunging and stretching forward, and he might have hit to the front.
He's had a little peep at Foster, and he's struggling to hold his stroke together. it's on the touch. I think Bedisso gets there. Espenberger, I should say, ahead of Foster. Bedisso was there in third. Yes, Espenberger in lane number 5. Just that little bit of a peak, but Foster, he was hurting in the closing stages. Gets the win in 1:55.45.
Yeah,
it's the second.
Pretty quick in the morning as well there from Espenberger. Good last turn, good last 50 metres to surge over the top of Carson Foster there. 1:55s is nice in the morning. Again, two-seated heats to come. 16th fastest entry time is 55.9. The top 3 here should safely move through. That was coming off the last turn. Foster in front, he goes thumbs. First entry, Espenberger gets the fingertips in and is able just to get the rate up and catch the water a little bit quicker. And that helped him take out heat 2.
And he takes it out by 0.3 of a second, 0.23 of a second. Espenberger over Foster, Bedisso and Clarebert in 4th placing. Zhu ended up 6th. The third heat looks like this. And Karoon of Canada, the bronze medalist at the Olympics, in lane number 4. Karoon in 4th. Alongside him is Terracotta of Japan, and also the first of the Chmielewski twins there, Michael Chmielewski, who was 4th in the Doha World Championships. He is in lane 3. We'll see his brother Christoph in the next race. Yeah, Waikato Poland falling back there, but they're great across the final 100, the Chmielewski twins. And look at that opening 50, 24.4 for Ilya Karoon. We know he's got range, he's got sprinting ability that most 200-metre flyers don't have. He would have been disappointed to miss the final, the 50 fly, where he finished 9th. And of course, he is the short course world champion in this 200-metre distance and the Olympic bronze medalist as well. So Karoon relaxing now. That was a comfortable first 50, just floating the legs, keeping the hips nice and high. 53.6 through the first 100. His body length's ahead of the rest of the field here, but the third 50 is where swimmers like Chmielewski will start to make their move. Ogata as well. Watch for the Japanese swimmers to come through. Terracotta is almost there on level terms now with Karoon, the 22-year-old Japanese swimmer. Karoon continues to lead. Terracotta in 2nd place, and 3rd at the moment would be Chmielewski. Okada in 4th as they turn to bring it home now. A margin of 0.3. Karoon over Terracotta.
Yeah, Karoon with a great last wall as well. He just faded into that 3rd turn, but was able to come out with a bit more momentum than that from Terracotta. But he's fighting strong, the Japanese swimmer, just there off the hip of Karoon. And Poland moving through into 3rd position at the moment.
So this is an impressive heat win now for Ilya Karoon of Canada. Terracotta in 2nd, and Michael Chmielewski in 3rd place. So 1:53.74, that is quick.
Oh, wakey. That's a great one this morning for Ilya Karoon. It's hurt him a little bit, but as the 200 butterflies always do, not too many swimmers jump out of the pool and say that one was easy, especially if you go on 1:53.7. Out in 53.6 it was. He's gone 29 high and 30 point low. And really good swim there for Karoon. Oh, Korea might have really pushed the 15 metres there off the start. But Karoon, he hasn't raced the long course 200 fly many times at all since the Paris Games. Of course, he trains at University of Arizona State and is such an important member of their relay teams across the sprint distances and all the way up to the 100s and the 200s as well. So a nice one there for Karoon, and 1:54s as well for the 2nd and 3rd place getters.
Karoon winning heat 3 here ahead of Terracotta and Michael Chmielewski. And that takes us to the fourth and last heat here. Krzysztof Chmielewski in lane 5 here. Orlando of the USA in 4. And Rossetti, the Italian, in lane number 3 here. Luca Orlando, the newcomer on the team.
Take your marks.
So Orlando there, Chen off the blocks quickly from China in lane 2. He's alongside Rossetti, who finished 8th in Paris, and Krzysztof Chmielewski is the swimmer in 5.
Yeah, good start there from Harrison Turner as well, who makes his Australian team debut here at the World Championships. He had a great performance at the trials to swim 154.9, and he's got speed and skill and swims fearlessly. So what's for Turner in 6, but Orlando as well swam 152.3 in season this year at a Pro Series meet. He was a little slower at US Nationals, but for somebody so versatile, this 200 fly is Luca Orlando's best event, and he comes into these World Championships as the #1 seed for the first time in his career.
He leads by half a body length as they go through the halfway mark now. So Luca Orlando, a new name on the US team, in front of Krzysztof Chmielewski and Turner in 3rd place. Then Rossetti and Chen as they head up the pool for the 3rd time.
Yeah, 53.1 there for Orlando. 28.1 on the second 50. Well, that is really setting up for a strong swim this morning, showing no signs of illness is Luca Orlando. Chmielewski from Poland, we know he'll come through on that last 50 metres just like he did in that Paris final. But Orlando, again, 28.8 on that 50 metres. He's ahead of what we saw from Karun in the previous heats. He just needs to hold stroke and hold length here, and he might be walking his way through to a comfortable 1:53.
Chmielewski's perhaps closing the gap a touch there. It's Orlando in front, Chmielewski after him. Perhaps in 3rd place it's Harrison Turner of Australia, but he's got to fight off challenges there from Rossetti and Chen. There is our winner, Orlando Chmielewski, and well, a dead heat for 3rd there. Chen and Rossetti with Turner in 5th, 1:52.71.
Oh, very fast this morning. He can't believe it, Orlando. 52.7 in the morning. That's a 1:52.89 for Chmielewski as well. That's a 1 second personal best for the Polish Olympic finalists. Well, Karun set the standard in the previous, and Orlando, he can't believe his eyes there. He either hurt, as it always does across that last 25, or really relaxed towards the finish, and he's gone, I believe that's the 2nd fastest time of his career, and 30.7 on that last 50, so his drop off from the 3rd 50 to the 4th was almost 2 seconds. So potentially more in the tank there for Luca Orlando. Semi-finals still to come before we get to that final, but really strong showing there for the top 2 swimmers in Heat 4.
And there was a disqualification there, false start from Siskos of Greece. So the results showing Orlando 1:52.71 ahead of Krzysztof Chmielewski. And love the shake of the head when he looked at the clock. Through to the semi-finals here, Orlando, Krzysztof Chmielewski. In fact, both the twins are there. Michael with the 7th fastest time. Harrison Turner makes it through. Ogata, and Lewis Kleber takes position 16, the last to go through, 1:56.35.
Yeah, cracking heat swims there on the men's side in the 200 fly. Just 4 heats, but I thought the 155s in the first seeded heat was actually pretty strong. And Ilya Karun with a 153 and a pair of 152s there from Luca Orlando and Krzysztof Chmielewski.
Now we have the heats of the men's 800 metres freestyle. And the world record set in 2009, 7:32.12. 7:32.12 by Zhang Lian of China. That was at the Rome World Championships where, what was it, 43 world records, 34, I think it was 43. It was amazing. There's
twice as many as Budapest last December.
Did you join the party there? Did you get a world record?
No, I got one at the World Cup the year before, actually.
That's right.
In Sydney, but I was there in Rome, and I almost made that 800 freestyle final. I think I was in 10th position, and as much as I wish I was in the final, if I did scrape through, I would have been in the lane next to Chang Lin, who neg split a 7:32 from lane 7, and that wouldn't have been very fun to swim in lane 8 with a guy going 7:32 next to you.
Take your mark.
So this is the first of 3 heats of the men's 800 metres freestyle. The only unseeded heat, you've got Teixeira of Andorra, then Vojka of Slovakia, Eck of Canada, Ethan Eck, we saw him in action yesterday, Nira of India, and then Johnson, and then Hernandez swimming out of lane number 7 for Cuba. So as I mentioned, the only unseeded heat, and all the big names will come through in 2 and 3, and it's the top 8 making it through to swim for the medals tomorrow night, the 800 metres free.
Yeah, when we talk about that, this 800 freestyle world record, I believe it'll be one of, if not the longest standing world record, as we've seen so many of the world marks from the supersuit era from 2009 eventually get broken year after year. I think, you know, the 50 free still stands, not from Rome, but from 09, and of course, Biedermann's 200 free, the 400 free got broken this year. You've got the 800 freestyle, and just quickly scanning my brain, I think it's the 200 backstroke is still there from Aram Pearsall. But 7:32.1 in that story. Of course, the 800 free final occurred on day 3 of the World Championships, and the Chinese swimmers had not yet worn the super suits. They were wearing, you know, the 50% polyurethane suits, but not the 100% rubber suits. So if you look back at results, so it's on day 4 of Rome that the Chinese team really exploded when they got their hands on, you know, these Jacquard suits. So Chang Lin, who was an amazing swimmer at the time in his own right, more so in the 400 metres distance, he was swimming in an outside lane and goes out in 3:46, which is blisteringly fast through the first 400 metres, and I thought, well, for sure he's gonna fade, he's gonna die, and he actually negative splits the 800 freestyle. He comes home in 3:45. I think his flat start PB was 3:41. He comes home in 3:45 and blows away the competition. I remember speaking to Osama Maluli after the race, who was the silver medalist in the 400 and the 800 there, and he's just shaking his head, going, "Well, what can I do?" You know, you can't compete with some performances like that are just you know, generational swims.
We'll get back to the story of those Rome records in just a moment as we update the situation here with Eck and Nira, and also there is Vojko. So Vojko in lane number 3, the swimmer from Slovakia, I should say, Eck from Canada. Eck has that narrow lead back there in 3rd place. It'll be in lane number 6, Johnson just ahead of Nira. So they go through the 300. And the margin about 0.34 of a second. Yes, those world records, that was quite remarkable. Some of those records stood for one race. And there were other races where the top 3 broke the world record, and yet the second and third place getters, of course, didn't actually get world records because there was a new one set a fraction of a second beforehand.
Yeah.
It was quite stunning. And I got to tell you, there were no $25,000 bonuses or whatever handed out then.
I think it was 10,000. A world record back then. I mean, it's a lot of money, but you know, the 50,000 that was on offer in Budapest was that was the sweet spot for Gretchen Walsh, I think. Yeah, and in this event, in this 800 free, the fastest time we've seen in recent memory belongs to Sven Schwarz, who broke the European record earlier this year, 7:38.1. It's quicker than what Whiffen swam to win the Olympic title last year. Hapnui and Shaw went 7:37s in Fukuoka. He's still looking at 5.5 seconds over Changlin's world record. That's 10 to 12 metres behind what we saw from Changlin 16 years ago. So again, I just really believe that one's going to last a long time. The men's 800 free and the men's 200 metres freestyle.
So they've completed now 450 metres of this 800 metres. The best of the entry times here are at 8:01.75 for Ethan Eck of Canada. It's the first time we've seen him in the Canadian national team. He's an 18-year-old and he leads at the moment just in front of Milan Vojka of Slovakia, whose entry time is 8:10.83. So they come down now to complete 500 with 300 remaining in the only unseeded heat of the men's 800 metres freestyle, looking for a top 8 time to go through to the final tomorrow night. And that's going to be tough because we've got the 2 seeded heats to come and a lot of very impressive CVs headed in heat 2 by the Olympic champion Daniel Whiffen and in heat 3 by the defending champion Bobby Fink.
Yeah, Eck here on screen. He was just outside the top 8 in the 400 freestyle heats where he swam a huge personal best by over 3 seconds to go, 3:46.0. He really came home strongly up against Peter Midson in that one. And I watched him race at the Junior Pan Packs last year in Canberra. He's got range from the 100 all the way up to the 800 metre distance and still only 18 years of age. We saw a strong swim from Dawson in the men's 50 breaststroke from the Canadian team. So a lot of swimmers from their junior team are getting not only valuable experience at the senior world championship level, but coming here to Singapore, racing in the heats and swimming above yourself, swimming a personal best time in the morning up against much more senior opponents is quite a difficult thing to do.
Well, he's really opened up a good lead now. Ethan Eck of Canada coming up towards the 650, so just over 150 still to swim for Eck. Vojka remains in second place, but that margin is spilling out. There it is, as we get a look at the clock there between first and second. Eck from Vojka is 4.25 seconds, 4.26.
Yeah, I think he's about to switch on the legs here as they come up to the 700. He splits up 30 seconds on that 50. He was out in 3:56.9, and he has good finishing speed as Ethan Eck, so something around 7:53 is not out of his grasp at the moment. There we go. He needs to come home in 57. He'll come home in 57. Don't worry about that. And he's going to blow away his personal best time. He's breathing towards the coaches at the moment. They're waving him on. They're screaming. They're trying to push this 18-year-old Canadian to another personal best here at the World Champs.
It's been a swim pretty much by himself. He had Vojka swimming with him over the first 350 or so, but then he scooted clear and he's made this race his own. Eck bringing it home now in second place, Vojka, and then it's a distance back to the rest of them.
Yeah, really bringing in the legs now. That left arm goes a little bit wide, but he keeps his hips flat, his head's nice and low. He's really blown away the second place getter in this heat. Ethan Eck from Canada with a great finishing final 50 metres to go, 7:53.30. That's 8 seconds faster than his entry time. The first time under 8 minutes in his career, and he's done it in emphatic fashion.
And Milan Vojka finishing in second place. He's also well under his entry time by some 8 seconds. And now here's the race for third. In 5 and 6 there, Nira and Johnson, and it goes the way of Nira, who records 8:21.3. Johnson in fourth, and then Teixeira and Hernandez.
There's the winner of Heat 1. Really pleased with that performance is Eck. Hernandez now finishing off there in lane 7. But Ethan Eck, what a first 3 days of competition he's had. 3:46.0 in the 400. Now he goes 7:53.30 It won't be good enough to make the finals. The 8th fastest time, entry time is a 7:47. Sorry, a 7:44. Geez, that's quick. But really showing some promise. Here's Ethan Eck, amongst other, Canadian swimmers coming here personal bests in the heats, especially on the men's side. So really positive signs for Swimming Canada. What's that one, Mike?
Not sure about that one, but it means something pretty good, I think. Ethan Eck taking out Heat 1. I think we're going to become very familiar with that name over the next few years. This 18-year-old Canadian taking out the first heat of the 800 free. Heat 2. And you've got Daniel Whiffen in lane number 4 here, our Olympic champion, Budapest world champion as well. Jawadi's there as well from Tunisia. Lucas Martins, Germany.
Take your marks.
So this is Heat 2, 1 heat remaining after this. Whiffen in 4, the Olympic champion. Martins, who won the 400 on night 1, also the 400 at the Olympics. In lane 5, Jawadi. Gee, this is an exceptional field. 4th in Paris, you've got Razovsky, Christoph in lane number 2. And then D'Attulio, Toncelli, Johansson, Costas there, Q. Great race.
25.2 for the first 50 from Lucas Martins, 1.7 seconds ahead of Chang Lin's first 50. Martins, of course, is a world record holder in his own right, but we look at, again, I spoke earlier about the shift from Olympic form stroke 50s becoming an Olympic event and how much deeper they've gone. Well, the same thing happened in the men's 800 freestyle across the past 2 Olympic cycles. The top end's got quicker, but also the time required to make these world and Olympic finals continues to get faster, and you get people like Lucas Martins that can settle into that 400 metre and 800 metre specialist range and become an elite performer in this event.
Yes, the 1500 metres was pretty much a specialist event, wasn't it? You had back there, I'm just trying to think, you sometimes had those who completed the 400 to 1500 metres, Kieran Perkins, but that often the 1500 was a standalone event because there was such a big gap between the 4 and the 15.
Yeah, it certainly was. And then again, the introduction of the 10K open water at the Olympic program brought people like David Davies, Osama Maluli, Grant Hackett to extend from the 1500 in the pool into the open water. And again, with men's freestyle swimming becoming so deep on the world stage, generally speaking, you can only be elite in 2 of the freestyle distances. Not many people can do it over 3 of the freestyle Olympic distances, whether that crosses from the pool to the open water. Martins, again, specialises more in that 4 and 800. Whiffen there in the middle, the Olympic champion in this event. He's more in that 800 and 1500 metre range. He dipped his toe into the open water race in Paris and said, no thank you, never again. I'm not going to do that, no matter how much money you pay me. And Jawadi from Tunisia in 2nd position at the moment. He's more in that 815 metre, 1500 metre range as well. Of course, Jawadi surprised everybody to take the short course 1500 in Budapest last year. Even though he's a little messy there, top of screen, just bobs his head up and down. A lot of drag in that head position, and not so good out of the turns is Jawadi. He was able to produce a really good short course 1500 last December.
Well, there's not too much between the top 3 here as they've gone through 300 metres. Martins, Jawadi and Whiffen. So Martins it is in lane 5. Whiffen, Daniel Whiffen, the Olympic champion from Ireland. He's right up there. He'll be just looking for a time here to make it through to the final. And Jawadi there as well. So they go through 350 metres now. And Jawadi, Martins, Whiffen, Toncelli is holding down 4th. There's a little bit of a gap there between 3rd and 4th there. Johansson, D'Attulio, Bethlehem, Costa and Razovsky in that order.
Yeah, the top 4 have cleared out though. Toncelli not on screen at the moment. moment, but he's a standout junior swimmer from Turkey, still only 17. He's moving into the mix, and Whiffen needs to make a move here as they approach the 400. He's potentially not in his best shape here, Dan Whiffen. Middle of screen there. Normally so quick in the heats is Whiffen. He's ultra competitive. He pretty much says every competition he wants to break with the world record and win a gold medal. And in the heats this morning, he has a race on his hands. But Jawadi, this is somewhat of a surprise. Jawadi, again, big kick there, bouncing head position. A strong last 250s, 28.9 and 28.7 for Jawadi's last 250s. He's splitting 57 high just in the middle of part of this 800 freestyle to really open up the field over some pretty high profile names at that.
Yes, so the top three, and now it looks like it's the top four. There's a group of four now out in front. The next heat, the last of the heats, not sure it's got quite the same depth. You've got Schwartz there and Fink and Short as well. And then perhaps it tapers off a little. So maybe this is, in terms of depth, a stronger heat, but you wouldn't want to be guessing that. You want to put the time on the board to give yourself every opportunity.
Well, the time's going to be fast. They went through 152 and now Jawadi at 3:48 at the 400. He's going to go like 7:42 this morning, 7:41 maybe. Whiffen there in fourth position now, the Olympic champion. Sancelli's gone past him. Again, they are moving quick, and with 36 hours between heats and finals, with the level of competition here, it's a maximal effort this morning for these men. It's different to the women's 1500 yesterday, where they could play off each other a little bit and swim 10, 20, 30 seconds over their best, but not here this morning, especially with the way Ahmed Jawadi is putting together this 800 metres freestyle heat.
He's got just under 200 to swim now. Jawadi from Martins, Tuncelli. Now Whiffen back in fourth, as you mentioned a moment ago, Bobby.
He's struggling, Whiffen. He's struggling. Tuncelli's gone past him and he hasn't put up a fight. Johansson's going to go past Whiffen as well, the Swedish swimmer, and that would be big news. Whiffen top of the yellow lanes. He is labouring in the middle of this 800 free. This is the 650. Only 3 laps to go, and I don't think Whiffen's got any fight left.
No, Whiffen, maybe it's all about the 1500 for Whiffen here, because he is really struggling at the moment. Back in fifth placing now with 150 to go. Jawadi, Martins, Tuncelli and Johansson. Whiffen in fifth place, and that is a big shot.
Well, if you can't finish off an 800 freestyle, then the 1500 doesn't get any easier, does it? So a really impressive performance here from Ahmed Jawadi. The bell sounds for 100 metres to go. He's cleared out this field, an impressive field as well. Martins in second position, and that's now Tuncelli and Johansson make the top four. The swimmers will want to be the top four position here in this heat to give themselves a chance for the final.
This is a really impressive performance by the Tunisian, the 20-year-old Tunisian, Ahmed Jawadi, who leads it pretty comfortably now. Martins in second place. It's 3.5 seconds between first and second. Tuncelli holding down third ahead of Johansson. Whiffen still in fifth placing. So 25 to swim.
He's not easing up, Ahmed Jawadi, at all. He's brought him the kick. He's about 5 metres ahead, and he might crack 7:40 this morning. Jawadi from Tunisia put down to the accelerator, 7:41.5, sorry, 41.5. Johansson with a fantastic finish to touch second ahead of Tuncelli. Martins has faded to 4. It should still be safe enough to move through, but Whiffen in fifth position, 7:46. That's the big news if the Olympic champion cannot qualify for the final in this event at the World Championships.
So heat 2 going this way, and that's the big news. Whiffen, one of the big names, certainly has emerged over the last 3 or 4 years. His rivalry with Bobby Fink has been really exciting, but he's certainly not in great form. There he is with Lucas Martins.
Well, 10 minutes ago I would have said Daniel Whiffen's the favourite for the gold medal tomorrow night. We haven't, he raced the 400 free earlier at this meet. He was a little bit off, but again, the 400's not really one of his specialist distances. We haven't seen Bobby Fink yet here in Singapore, or Ahmed Jawadi. Martin's, of course, already with a gold medal, but Whiffen, in terms of his young international career at this point, has, especially in the 800 freestyle, that's his baby, that's his favourite event. I would have certainly backed him in to be in the mix, but Ahmed Jawadi, boy, Tunisia can produce a distance freestyler. Osama Malouli in the from 2008 to about 2016 was really a world-class competitor. We saw Ahmed Hafnoui in Fukuoka, and now we've got Ahmed Jawadi.
The result of Heat 2 with Jawadi taking it out 7:41.58 ahead of Johansson, who finished really fast to grab second over Toncelli, Martins and Whiffen. So the last of the heats here, the men's 800 metres freestyle, and Sven Schwartz and Bobby Fink in 4 and 5. The German and the American Sam Short is there in lane number 3, and David Aubrey in 6. Short, silver medalist earlier in the 400 metres.
Take your marks.
Bobby Fink is our defending champion here. He won the 800 and the 1500 double at the Tokyo Olympics. So the American is the favourite. Well, on time, she's actually in lane 5. Schwartz, you spoke about Schwartz before, Bobby, and he has a slightly quicker entry time in lane number 4. Short there in 3 and Aubrey in 6.
Yeah, first look at Bobby Fink here in Singapore, and prior to the heat session this morning, I would have said there's no guarantees as to the health and fitness of the American team after what we've seen in the past 2 days. But overall, they've had a great morning here. Again, when we look at food poisoning, potentially 3-4 days later is when some of these swimmers can maybe not be at their best, but start to feel normal again. So Fink, bottom of the yellow lanes there, Olympic silver in the 800, and we know how strong of a racer Bobby Fink is. He has unmatched finishing ability through that final 50 metres. He's had an impressive domestic season this year. He beat Leon Marchand in the 400 IM, in fact, in Fort Lauderdale back in May. He's the US champion in the 400 IM. He came over the top of Carson Foster at the trials, but when it comes to the World Championships, Bobby Fink just focuses all his energy on the 800 and the 1500 freestyle. Through the
150, and Short is our early leader here, but just by a fraction of a second over Schwartz and Fink. Godemans is in 4th place, swimming out of lane number 2 on the opposite side there of Short, so on Short's left shoulder at the moment. The way the race is, it's his left ankle though. Short has established a nice little break there over Schwartz and Fink, but early stages they go down and complete the first 200 metres. The last of the heats here, the top 8 times making it through to the final, and the best of the times so far are 7:41.58 from Ahmed Jawadi of Tunisia.
Yeah, we know Sam Short likes to front end all of his races and use his speed and try and grind everybody out. Benjamin Godemans makes his debut for the Australian team after some strong performances at the Nationals as well. Probably better suited to the 1500, but is in 4th position at the moment. And again, top 4 in this heat, and a sub 7:46 is what's going to be required to make the final. Godemans' personal best time, 7:46.1. So that's the bubble there. That's what it's going to take. Short there, just right of the yellow lane rope. He's been as quick as 7:37 from back in Fukuoka. He's breathing to his right now. He'll see Sven Shorts next to him, and of course Bobby Fink just turning on camera at the moment. But the fastest seed, as we mentioned coming in, we haven't mentioned his name too much. Sven Schwartz there, between the yellow lane ropes, purple suit, just a little 2-beat kick. Again, we know how strong of a distance swimming nation Germany is. He doesn't train with Coach Burkhan, with that stable of Walbrock and Ghosts and Martins. and Moesha Johnson amongst others. He trains elsewhere, but of course domestically, when the level of competition is so high in that 400, 800 and 1500, it's really propelled Sven Sports to break the European record earlier this year with his time of 7:38.1. So he's looking strong through the middle part of this one, as is Bobby Fink. Fink uses a lot more legs than Schwartz and Short. And of course we know the finishing speed of Fink, which primarily comes from his kick as well. So he needs to use his kick there right of screen. He just gets into that rhythm. A lot of hip movement there, which is pretty normal in distance freestyle swimming. In sprint freestyle we'll see a lot more stability from the hips, but in distance swimming it's more of a hip-driven stroke. So Fink looking good at the moment. They're on about the same sort of pace through the first 450 as what we saw from Jawadi in the previous.
And Sam Short continues to lead, the silver medalist in the 400 metres. He just missed out behind Lucas Martins. It was 0.02 of a second. Very, very tight there. And Short, who won the silver medal in the Fukuoka World Championships, would love to make it gold ultimately in the final here tomorrow night. He's looking pretty comfortable out there in front, and he's got a lead of around a full second over Fink and Schwartz. Godeman's the second of the Australians, holding down fourth, and he's got a fair gap over the rest of them.
Yeah, it's just so fast in the heats here. They're just swimming 58 lows in an 800 freestyle heat. Again, just the depth and competitiveness of this event has increased so much in the past two Olympic cycles. That world record again from Rome, when the 800 freestyle was a non-Olympic event. I think Chan Ling went like 7:48 in the heats that day, and had 36 hours to recover and find himself a new suit. So the times have changed. The event remains the same, but the game has changed when you have to go sub 7:45 to make it back, and no suit to help you through that heat swim. So the recovery is that little bit more difficult.
200 to swim now, and Sam Short has put his foot down. He's increased his lead. He wants to get a good time here, a good lane in the final, and he's got the lead over Bobby Finks and Sven Short. Still Godeman's in fourth place, but that gap is starting to narrow between Godeman's and Fay and Aubrey. So Short it is who leads as he goes through 150 to swim.
Yeah, it's just a heat here, but Short's opened up a lead of 1.6 over Fink. He knows if it's less than a second with 50 to go, if Fink wants it, he's got that ability to finish, but I wouldn't assume Fink's going to, throw everything at it this morning. He probably just wants to get second, I'd imagine. Third might be a little shaky. We know he will make the final, but of course the swimmers in the water are unaware of what sort of exact time they're going. They know probably to maybe within a second or two of what sort of time they're doing, but they don't know exactly what they're doing, whether it's fast or slow. So Sam Short putting in a strong performance. Now, a lot of experts said Sam Short silver in the 400, but it was slower than the performance he swam in the heat, 3:42.0 in that 400 heat, and he was unable to back up, which of course that 400 heat final occurs on the same day. Now here, I'd imagine he can switch off and just touch the wall first. He has a longer recovery period, but I think Sam Short's just a really good heat swimmer.
Well, he's certainly looking good here, Short. Perhaps that gap might be closing a touch. The real battle between Fink and Schwartz, because they know that their placings and times are important. Schwartz in front of Fink, but there goes Short, who takes it out. Short in 7:42.22. It's the second fastest time going into the final. Schwartz in second place, Fink and Godeman's fourth.
Okay, Godeman 7:48.6 for fourth. So the top three will move through, and Daniel Whitman will be in 8th position for the final tomorrow night. Whitman's in makes me eat my words just a little bit there. He was cutting it fine with 5th in the first heat, but short there, the winner of Heat 3, 7:42.2. Schwartz, 7:43, just ahead of Bobby Fink. He looked good, the German, through that last 50. He was able to hold off the challenge from Bobby Fink. So that's his first swim of the World Championships. Great to see the best distance swimmers in the world, Mike, really come to Singapore in their best form, because this final tomorrow night it's going to be special.
Yes, indeed it is. It's the biggest event of the year for these swimmers. Of course, the Olympics last year. We have the World Championships every 2 years. And they had Doha last year before the Olympics. Now, just a little bit out of sequence because of the catch-up after COVID, but Doha last year, we won't have another World Championships long course for another 2 years. Sam Short, the winner of Heat 3 in 7:42.22 from Sven Shorts and Bobby Fink. Benjamin Godemans in 4th place.
Yeah, he's pleased with that performance, Sam Short, as we look at the finalists for tomorrow night.
Yes, Jawadi will be the first through there. Schwartz down to the bottom there. Daniel Whiffen in lane 8. Godemans just misses out by 1 spot. So 7:48.66, not quite quick enough to make the final of the men's 800 metres freestyle.
Yes, that's setting up to be a fantastic final tomorrow night. 7:46 required to make it back. You've got Jawadi, the fearless Tunisian, fresh after a gold medal in Budapest. Short, Schwartz, Bobby Fink's got an Olympic gold. Johansson with another Swedish record this morning. Tuncelli, the world junior record holder. Lucas Martins, the 400 freestyle world record holder. And Daniel Whiffen, the Olympic champion.
Yes, they've got a lot of trophies, haven't they, these fellas? And it's going to be a great final coming up tomorrow night. In terms of these longer races, we've got a great final coming up this evening as well, the women's 1500 metres freestyle. So that's the last of our races this morning, Bobby. It's a shortish session, but there's been plenty of excitement and much to look forward to this evening. I think no huge surprises this morning. It was almost with Daniel Whiffen, but he ended up sneaking in lane 8.
Yes, it was a strong heat session this morning, especially with the depth shown on the men's side. That 50 breaststroke was really fast. Multiple swimmers going sub 27. Of course, the men's 200 fly as well. Luca Orlando really couldn't believe he went 152 in the heat there quite comfortably. That's a scary thought for the rest of the world. And of course, a cracking men's 800 metres freestyle. I love calling the distance freestyle events, not just the finals, but the heats as well, because for so long it was dominated by essentially one person. Yeah, maybe a Grant Hackett, and then it was a Sun Yang, and now it's competitive. Now it's alive from heats, from start to finish in a final. It opens up to so many different scenarios, which is what the spectators want to see.
So it's business as usual as far as the swimmers are concerned. That's the call room. And of course, there's plenty of work still to do. But let's concentrate for the moment on what we've just seen, Bobby, over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, back to the competition pool for the 3rd session of heats here at the Singapore 2025 World Championships. 9 heats of the men's 50 breaststroke. There were plenty of personal bests there. Taniguchi moved through for Japan, and Simone Cerusuolo of Italy was the fastest qualifier through the heats. Of course, Chin Ha-young and Nicola Martinenghi, medalists from last night, also safely through to the semi-finals. One women's event this morning. It was this 200 metres freestyle. Claire Weinstein hit the waters in Singapore for the first time. She moved through to the semi-finals, and it was a really competitive final heat here with Erica Fairweather. After a disqualification in the 400 freestyle, she defeats Molly O'Callaghan, the Olympic champion, but all the big names moving through in that one. And the men's 200 fly, Ilya Karun, the Olympic bronze medalist, he did the job this morning, but all eyes went to Luca Orlando and Christoph Shemalevsky. 152s in the heats here in Singapore. That's the reaction from the #1 seed when he looks up and sees a time like that. And an exciting men's 800 metres freestyle this morning. Ethan Eck was impressive. Whip and scrapes through. And Ahmed Jawadi, a shrug of the shoulders, but he'll be in lane 4 for that final tonight, which will also feature Sam Short, Sven Shorts, and of course the American Bobby Fink looking to add to the United States gold medal tally.
Yes, much to look forward to tonight and tomorrow night. In fact, we've got plenty to go here. We go through until next Sunday evening here at the World Championships in Singapore. It's been terrific action so far as we have a look at the National Stadium across this impressive city. So that is the way the morning has turned out with those heats. We didn't mention Molly O'Callaghan. Molly O'Callaghan, of course, impressive in the 200 freestyle. We've got 5 finals coming up this evening. The men's 200 metres freestyle, the women's 1500 free, women's 100 back, men's 100 back, and the women's 100 breast. It should be exciting. I hope you can join us then here in Singapore.